forest seemed to close in around Sarah and James, the last two survivors, as they ventured deeper, the trees standing like twisted sentinels beneath the darkening sky. The sun's last rays barely penetrated the thick canopy, casting long, eerie shadows that danced in the periphery of their vision. Every rustle of leaves and snap of a twig set their nerves on edge, a constant reminder that they were not alone. Their destination was an old, decrepit cabin rumored to hold secrets about the entity that haunted these woods. As they approached, the air grew colder, the smell of damp earth and decay intensifying. Cabin loomed out of the darkness, its wooden frames sagging with age, windows shattered like gaping mouths frozen in silent screams. Inside, the cabin was a testament to neglect and chaos. The floor was littered with debris, and the walls were adorned with cryptic symbols, scrawled in what looked disturbingly like dried blood. The stench was overwhelming, a mix of rot and something metallic that turned their stomachs. As they explored, Sarah's flashlight beam landed on a tattered journal half buried under a pile of rubble. Its pages were brittle with age, but the words were still legible, describing rituals and warnings left by settlers who had once tried to tame these woods. The entries grew increasingly frantic, detailing gruesome encounters with an entity that thrived on fear and blood. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the back of the cabin, shattering the oppressive silence. James and Sarah exchanged a glance, their hearts pounding in unison. They moved cautiously toward the noise, the floorboards creaking ominously underfoot. In a dimly lit room, they found the source of the sound, a door hanging ajar, leading down into a cellar. The air that wafted up was foul, carrying with it the unmistakable scent of decay. Steeling themselves, they descended the creaking steps, the darkness swallowing them whole. The cellar was a chamber of horrors. The walls were lined with crude shelves, upon which sat jars filled with unidentifiable, grotesque remains. In the center of the room lay a large, blood-stained altar, surrounded by remnants of ritualistic offerings. The sight was enough to churn their stomachs, a visceral testament to the malevolent history of the place. As they stood transfixed by the macabre scene, a low growl echoed through the cellar, freezing them in place. From the shadows emerged a creature, its form twisted and unnatural, eyes glinting with malice. It moved with a predatory grace, the air around it shimmering with a dark energy. In that moment, the reality of their situation crashed down upon them. The entity was no mere legend, it was real, and it was hungry. The boundaries between fear and survival blurred as they scrambled to escape, their only thought to flee the nightmare that sought to claim them. Stumbling back up the stairs, they burst into the night, the forest now a maze of shadows and unseen threats.